Let's move to Queen's Park right now. The Premier making an announcement today with the Health Minister about funding for critical care nursing. For more on this and other situations down at Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, Queen's Park reporter for CTV Toronto, joins us. Let's talk, Siobhan, first about the announcement regarding critical care nursing. What are the Premier and Health Minister offering today?
Well, they're offering millions of dollars, both at the Michener Institute here in Toronto and 4 or 5 other schools across Ontario to help nurses upgrade their skills. We know that one area in particular where there's been a gap, a shortage of nurses, has been in critical care. So these programs allow nurses who are already practicing to basically upgrade their skills. You need a very specific skill set to be able to work in critical care. This will allow them to do that, and the government is also covering the tuition of people wanting to do that accelerated route to be able to work in critical care.
Yeah, there's no doubt we need more nurses in Ontario. Siobhan, also though, the Premier making some news today when it came to Bill 124 and the use of the notwithstanding clause. Where is Doug Ford on that?
Well, this is the first opportunity we've had to ask the Premier about basically where he lands on this decision that we saw from the Superior Court earlier this week. We heard quite emphatically from the Premier today that he does not plan to use the notwithstanding clause if the government doesn't get its way through the courts. The government is planning at this point to appeal the court's decision, the one that struck down Bill 124 and said it was unconstitutional. So, you know, the government does have the ability, because we're talking about constitutionality, to use the notwithstanding clause. But Doug Ford says he doesn't want to do that. He danced around a question about whether he's learned his lesson based on what we saw happen after the government did use the notwithstanding clause with CUPE and really faced a lot of public backlash for that.
Yeah, that was only, of course, just a few weeks ago. And it seems, Siobhan, I mean, you're down at Queen's Park certainly much more than I am. It seems like this has been a bit of a rough week for the provincial government here, because we also got, talk about Greenbelt and Bill 23, right? They've taken a lot of heat on a couple of issues here. Was the Premier asked about that this afternoon or this morning as well?
I don't think he was not asked about, I guess, the week as a whole, but asked about all of those issues individually. And it's kind of hard to remember, even hour to hour, all these things that are kind of blowing up in the government's face, and them trying to, I think, keep their head above water on this. Bill 23 has really angered a lot of municipalities. A little bit of a reprieve yesterday, where now the government is signaling that they will help municipalities fill some of their funding gaps by losing development charges, but at the same time saying, well, we want to come in and look at your books. We want to audit what you find is going to be the gap in your development charges, kind of signaling that they don't trust municipalities' numbers. And I don't know that that fosters a great relationship between Queen's Park and city halls across Ontario. You do still have the ongoing Greenbelt issue, requests for both Auditor General, Integrity Commissioner investigations about whether or not the government tipped off in any way developers before they announced their plans to open up parts of the Greenbelt. We did hear the Premier say emphatically today also no, but there are still those requests for investigations on the books.
Boy, there is a lot happening down at Queen's Park these days. Siobhan Morris, glad you're there. Thanks so much. As Queen's Park reporter for CTV Toronto, Siobhan Morris, thank you.
Thank you.